Hello, and welcome to this week's Open the Book. It's sometimes very hard to do what's right, isn't it? When your mum says you're not allowed to go to the park, but your friends persuade you to go, you're certain to get a telling off, aren't you? In today's story, those young boys we met last time have grown into men, and they're still sticking to what they know is right, and they end up in deep trouble. That doesn't sound fair, does it? But don't worry, God hadn't deserted them. Let's open the book at the story called The Men Who Like to Say No.
One day, King Nebuchadnezzar's herald announced,
"All wise men and governors must go to the plain of Dura. The king has a surprise for you."
when the wise men got there, they found the biggest statue they had ever seen. And at its feet was the biggest band they had ever seen.
At the sound of the trumpet, the horn, the bagpipe and the harp, you must all bow down and worship this golden statue. Anyone who disobeys will be thrown into the fierce, fiery, flaming furnace.
The band began to play, and everyone worshipped the statue. Well, almost everyone, for there were three men who did not bow down and worship: Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, all grown up now, the men who liked to say no. When King Nebuchadnezzar saw them, he was very angry.
Oh, who dares defy my order?
Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, some men said, men who didn't like foreigners from Jerusalem having such important jobs.
Well, bring them to me at once.
So the men who liked to say no were dragged before the king.
You heard the order, and you did not obey it. Will you worship the statue now?
No, we will not worship your statue. Our God has told us that this would be wrong.
No, and we will not forget our God or the land he gave us, the land from which we were taken.
No, and our God will not forget us.
Then off to the furnace and make it 7 times hotter than ever before, and tie them up so they cannot escape.
So the men who liked to say no were thrown into the furnace. Its flames were so hot that the men who threw them in were burned up in an instant. But things were different for the three friends. They weren't burning, they weren't sweating, and they weren't alone. There, beside them, stood an angel, flickering like the furnace flames. He touched a finger to the ropes that bound them, and they burned right through. But there wasn't even a blister on the skin of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego.
God is with you. You have nothing to fear.
Now Nebuchadnezzar's lips were no longer twisted in an angry snarl. No, they hung open and limp with amazement.
We threw 3 men into the furnace, but look, there are 4 men in there now.
The herald crept closer and said,
It must be an angel, sent by the God these men refuse to forget. If so, he's a very powerful God, for they are unharmed.
Nebuchadnezzar leapt to his feet and ordered Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego to come out. Everyone gathered round them to have a closer look. And then the king said,
Praise to the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, the one God. They did not forget him, and he did not forget them. I therefore command that no one shall say anything bad about this God. And what's more, I shall give Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego even more important jobs in my kingdom.
Then he looked at the three friends.
Surely you can say yes to that.
The three friends looked at each other. Then, together, they looked at the king.
No
No
problem.
problem.
What brave men they were. They were ready to die rather than give in to what they knew was wrong. Even today, in many parts of the world, there are people suffering because they've made choices to do what they believe to be right. And it gets them into trouble. We say these people are being persecuted. Think about how brave and strong these people must be. And now I'm going to say a prayer. And if you want to make it your prayer, say Amen at the end. Dear God, please help all those people in the world who are persecuted for their beliefs. Help us to respect people who stand up for what they believe in. Amen.
Amen.
Amen.